The Jarak Dominion descended on the colony world of Erevos III without hesitation. It was a jewel of humanity's frontier, a lush planet of oceans, mountain ranges, and sprawling cities. Families lived there, artists painted the seas, scientists studied the skies. They had believed the Dominion's endless wars would never touch them. The Jarak made certain that illusion ended in fire. Their warships arrived in orbit like predators circling helpless prey. From above, they rained plasma down upon the cities, laughing in their guttural voices as towers crumbled. They intercepted civilian escape craft, deliberately disabling engines so they could watch them drift, helpless, before finishing them off. The governor pleaded for negotiations. The Jarak commander broadcast the execution of that envoy to every frequency in the system. His final words were cut off by the snap of a blade across his throat. "Earth is too far," the commander gloated, "too weak, too bound by law to avenge this. Their colony dies today, and tomorrow they will bow." The Dominion's triumph was cruel and spectacular, but it lasted hours. Aye, mockery in the afterglow. After the slaughter, the Jarak did what predators always do: they celebrated. Their fleets lingered in the orbit of a burning Erevos III, drinking in the glow of their destruction. Fires raged on the surface, whole forests turned to ash, and oceans boiled where their weapons had struck. The Dominion broadcast their victory across the galactic channels. They mocked Earth's civilized restraint. They called humanity children with toys they cannot wield, and they laughed that the Terrans would do nothing but bury their dead and weep. Alien dignitaries toasted the annihilation in their halls. Merchants already drafted treaties that would carve up abandoned human trade routes. Even neutral powers shrugged, murmuring that Earth would not risk its fragile alliances for vengeance. "Humans," the Jarak sneered, "endure loss like the tide endures the moon, powerless, inevitable, silent." They were wrong. Aye, the silence breaks. For days the galaxy heard nothing, no human response, no declaration, no retaliation. That silence became unnerving. Then it broke. The first sign was the coded burst on every channel. "Earth remembers." Signals pulsed from Sol like heartbeats. Distant observatories tracked movement in the black, old shipyards flaring to life. Stations thought abandoned suddenly bristling with activity. Fleets stirred from the void like giants waking from centuries of slumber. On Erevos' ashes, survivors whispered into encrypted beacons, "They are coming." And then the galaxy saw them. Human dreadnoughts emerged from slipspace, steel leviathans vast enough to eclipse stars. Their hulls bore scars from past wars, their weapons silent but waiting. Every ship carried a name etched in memory: retribution, justice, vengeance, eternity. When Earth's High Command finally spoke, their voice was cold as ice. "The Dominion's triumph lasted hours. Our vengeance will last centuries." The storm unleashed. The human counteroffensive began with no hesitation. The first system to fall was Karun's Reach, a fortified Dominion stronghold. Its planetary shields had never been breached. Humanity cracked them in a single night, bombardments pounding until the sky itself seemed to bleed fire. Cities vanished beneath orbital strikes. The Dominion's fleet scattered, only to be hunted down one by one. But Earth did not stop there. The campaign expanded like a wildfire, system after system, world after world. Human fleets advanced with terrifying precision. Their logistics were perfect, their strategies merciless. Dreadnoughts blotted out suns. Dropships fell like meteors, disgorging armored soldiers whose rifles spat thunder. The Jarak expected hesitation. They found none. The Terrans struck without parley, without compromise, without mercy. Entire battle moons were reduced to slag. Commanders were executed live, just as the governor of Erivos had been. The message was deliberate. Every cruelty you showed us, we return 1,000-fold. The galaxy watched in horror. The fire that does not end. Weeks turned into months, months into years. Humanity's vengeance became something more than war, it became legend. Jarak strongholds that had stood for centuries fell into ruin. Their proudest fleets were shattered against Terran steel. Entire dynasties of Dominion nobles vanished in the night, hunted by assassins who carried Earth's insignia burned into their armor. Even when the Jarak sued for peace, Earth did not answer. They did not negotiate. They did not forgive. Their fleets burned across the stars like a plague of fire. And the most terrifying truth, humanity did not tire. Generations passed, and still the Terran war machine moved, relentless. Fathers who had fought at Erivos passed command to their sons, their daughters, their grandchildren. Each carried the same oath: never again shall Earth's enemies know peace. The Dominion's triumph, their hours of laughter, their boasts, their executions was remembered. And for that memory, Earth gave them centuries of suffering. The weight of retribution. Alien historians tried to capture what it was like to watch humanity's fury. Some called it a tide, endless, unstoppable. Others said it was a firestorm consuming everything until only ash remained. But survivors spoke differently. They whispered that humanity's vengeance was not hot at all. It was cold, methodical. A blade pressed against the throat of a civilization, unflinching, unyielding, never withdrawn. Entire sectors lay dark, burned out and silent where Dominion stars had once thrived. Trade routes collapsed. Refugees fled, carrying only the warning: do not cross Earth. And yet, the Terrans never claimed those worlds for themselves. They left them empty, as monuments. Ruins smoldering in the void, silent reminders of what awaited any who dared provoke humanity. The galaxy realized a chilling truth: humans did not conquer for territory. They did not wage war for glory. They waged it for memory, for vengeance, for justice carved in fire and steel. The whispered dread. Centuries passed. The Jarak Dominion was gone, erased as though it had never existed. Their names survived only in whispers in the dark corners of alien bars, as a curse, as a warning. Children of other species were told stories. Be polite to humans, respect their borders, never harm their kin, remember the Jarak. Even the most arrogant powers kept their fleets clear of Earth's reach. Ambassadors bowed low, their voices trembling when they spoke to Terran envoys. No one forgot Erivos' III, nor the vengeance that followed. In time, a single phrase entered every galactic tongue. Their triumph lasted hours, Earth's vengeance lasts centuries. The infinite patience of humanity. And so the galaxy learned the final lesson. Humanity's patience is vast. They will endure insult. They will suffer loss. They will bury their dead in silence. But should the line be crossed, should arrogance light the spark, their response will not fade. It will not stop. It will stretch beyond years, beyond generations, beyond empires. Because for humanity, vengeance is not merely retribution. It is legacy. And that legacy burns brighter and longer than any star. It began on the edge of the Persian Rift, a cluster of human colonies still in their infancy. Fragile outposts, green with newly seeded crops, skis filled with the laughter of settlers who thought themselves safe under the quiet stars. The Zarthun Armada shattered that illusion in minutes. To them, humanity was little more than an upstart species, bold enough to claim worlds but too young, too tame to defend them. The Zarthun descended in waves of living metal, their warships carving the skies with plasma storms. The first colony fell before a single distress call could be sent. On New Carthage, families ran to bunkers, only to have them melted open by searing beams. On Halcyon Reach, the envoys of Earth were dragged from their embassies and executed in public squares, their deaths broadcast across 100 alien networks as spectacle. Civilian fleets fleeing the destruction were ambushed and ripped apart, hulks drifting through void, their emergency beacons silenced by jamming fields. The Zarthun High Command congratulated themselves. The campaign was swift, brutal, and clean. Humanity, they believed, had been dealt a lesson it would never recover from. Their triumph lasted hours. Mockery across the stars. The galaxy watched with a mixture of fascination and relief. For cycles, many species had wondered when humanity's expansion would finally overstep. To see Earth humbled, its colonies burning, was a balm to rival powers. The Zarthun broadcast their victories. Their commanders dined on stolen wines from human storehouses, raising goblets over piles of Earth's books, art, and heirlooms thrown into bonfires. They mocked humanity's ideals: compassion, law, cooperation. On alien networks, propaganda flared. The humans talk of peace, yet cannot even protect their young. The celebration was thunderous. And it was foolish. Because even as the galaxy cheered, Earth was silent. Not broken, not weeping, silent. And silence, when it came from Earth, was not weakness. It was the sound of teeth grinding, the sound of forges blazing, the sound of war councils gathering in the deep dark. The Zarthun mistook that silence for surrender. The silence breaks. When Earth finally answered, it was not with words. The first sign was the sudden blackout of 3 Zarthun frontier stations. Their comms simply ended. Then came the stillness of entire fleets, destroyers, battleships, dread carriers, all drifting lifelessly, their crews